Hello. Today we like to learn about Tfilat Haderech. Tfilat Haderech was instituted by Chazal that one should say the Tefillah before he comes out of a city. Whenever he is in the city, he doesn't say Tfilat Haderech, even if he's driving all day within the city or he's traveling within the city. It's only when he leaves his city. Even if he goes to a different city, he goes from one city to another, then he should say Tfilat Haderech. The Shulchan Aruch was posek this into halacha in Siman Kuf Yud, that a person that leaves his city should say Tfilat Haderech. How long is the travel that one needs to go in order to say Tfilat Haderech? It's a distance of 72 minutes at least, which is a parsa, 72 minutes, from the minute he left his city. So if the distance that is going is after he left the city a distance of 72 minutes, he would say Tfilat Haderech. This is machloket Rashi and the Bahag. What is the requirement? According to Rashi, if a person is traveling 72 minutes and he's or more, and he is within the first 72 minutes of his travel, he says Tfilat Haderech. If he passed that parsa, that 72 minutes, he does not say Tfilat Haderech anymore. The Miri explains it because he says it's because Tfilat Haderech is asking permission from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the Lashon of the Gemara. He's asking permission from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to leave the city. Therefore, he could only do it as long as he is within somewhere close to the city, and the amount that Chazal made or instituted is 72 minutes. After that, he does not say Tfilat Haderech. La'alacha, we're not going like Rashi, but rather like the Bahag, Baal Halachot Gdolot, which explained that the distance of the travel should be 72 minutes. But even if a person passed 72 minutes of travel, he still should say Tfilat Haderech. But there is a requirement that he has ahead of him still a travel of 72 minutes to go. If he's close to the city that is going within 72 minutes, he does not say Tfilat Haderech, which means he needs to be still in a distant away from the city that is going to 72 minutes of travel. So this is something that one needs to keep in mind. There is a machloket today amongst the poskim whether a person that goes from one city to another city, but it's all populated in other houses, cities, or other things, whether he should say Tfilat Haderech, because it's not as dangerous. The reason Chazal instituted Tfilat Haderech is because it was dangerous to travel outside the city. There would be robbers, there would be murderers, and once you go out of the city, it's unsafe. But today that there's cities between the city you're traveling to the place you go in your destination, the cities in between, so it's not dangerous anymore. Do you say Tfilat Haderech? Rav Shlomo Zalman brought such an idea down. The Biur Halacha brought such an idea. The Biur Halacha is asking in Kuf Yud, ask the question whether we say Tfilat Haderech in such a scenario or not. So Lemaaseh, Rav Shlomo Zalman says that today, anyway, it's not dangerous to travel. If you're traveling into such a place and it's not a dangerous drive, you don't say Tfilat Haderech. Or also says such an idea that today is not dangerous. As we explained that in the time of Chazal, it would be dangerous to travel, but today it's not dangerous. Therefore, maybe you don't say Tfilat Haderech today, unless you're going through a dangerous place, like Arab villages, close to Arab villages, go to cities that are not safe, or you travel in a place that there's no cars. The Or Letzion explains that if you can't see a car ahead of you or at the back of you, and you're traveling like that, so that is a place of danger, and therefore such a deserted place requires the bracha of Tfilat Haderech with Shem u'Malchut. Otherwise, you say without Shem u'Malchut. You just skip Hashem name. You say Baruch Atah, and instead of saying Hashem, you could say Rachamana, or think Hashem name in your heart and say Shomea Tefillah. That's how you end the bracha. Once we explain the bracha itself, the Maram Rotenburg explained and brought down in the Shulchan Aruch the question that Tosfot already asked, how do you start the Tfilat Haderech, Yehi Ratzon Milefanecha, without starting a bracha? Baruch Atah Hashem. Normally, when you have a tefillah or a bracha, it should start with the bracha itself, Baruch Atah Hashem. Why is it not starting in such a way? Well, there are exceptions to when you start Baruch Atah Hashem, and that is if the bracha is smucha lechaverta. If you started already a bracha beforehand, then you can continue without saying Hashem's name or without starting a bracha. That's how, for instance, in Shmona Esrei, in Tfilat Amidah, you start each bracha without Baruch Atah Hashem. You just end with Baruch Atah Hashem. Why? It's bracha smucha lechaverta. Why over here it's not like that? So there's different answers, but lemaaseh, the Shulchan Aruch brings that if one can say one bracha beforehand and then be masmich, put together, wrap it, and start the Tfilat Haderech right afterwards, that will be the correct way to do the Tfilat Haderech. So if one can keep that in mind. Now, when is the time that you say Tfilat Haderech? According to the Taz, as soon as you're ready to leave the house. But la'alacha, we don't go like that. Tfilat Haderech you say when you're actually on the road, on the drive. When you're driving, and best is when you leave the city. As we explained before, you have to leave the city. What is it considered leaving the city? Leaving the city is when you leave a place that doesn't have houses. It's not populated anymore. When you leave such a place, then you would say the bracha. Best place to say bracha when you leave a city is on a bridge usually. Let's say you leave Brooklyn, so you'll say on the Verrazano Bridge, and so on. Those places already are considered outside the city, and therefore you would say the bracha. But again, since you are traveling in a safe environment, you're going from one city, let's say from Brooklyn on the Verrazano Bridge, to Staten Island, to New Jersey, the whole place is usually has houses, has other things that are populated. There's a lot of cars in between. So therefore, many poskim, as we explained before, would say that you should say Tfilat Haderech without Hashem's name. Not everybody agrees. Some say that today there's a danger of accidents, and therefore one should say Tfilat Haderech before going to a distance again of 72 minutes, and you add the distance of going and coming back. That means that if you're traveling, let's say 36 minutes, and then you're coming back 36 minutes, so that adds to the 72 minutes. This is how Chacham Ovadia is posek lehalacha. So before you start that travel, from the time, again, we're talking about leaving the city. If you're still in the city and your travel is 72 minutes, but part of it is within the city. So again, if you live in Brooklyn and you go into a place that by the time you reach the Verrazano Bridge, you will be wasting 20 minutes until you get there, and only then you'll be left with 52 minutes of travel. So then you don't say Tfilat Haderech on such a scenario. So one needs to keep that in mind. When we're dealing with distance of driving, we're dealing with distance of driving when there's no traffic. But if a person, let's say, needs to go from Brooklyn to Staten Island, he takes the Verrazano. It's a drive of 20 minutes, 25 minutes, but it's a rush hour and he's stuck in traffic for 72 minutes. He doesn't say Tfilat Haderech because it's not a distance of driving of 72 minutes. Rather, he's stuck in traffic. In such a case, you don't say Tfilat Haderech. So those are some ideas that one needs to keep in mind before going on a road. This is concerning Tfilat Haderech. Then there's halachot of when one should say Hagomel. But Tfilat Haderech, as we explained right now, should be with the requirement of driving 72 minutes, at least 72 minutes. The poskim also say that if one goes through a dangerous neighborhood, even less than 72 minutes, one could say Tfilat Haderech. So if you go through an Arab village, for instance, or you go within Brooklyn, or let's say in the Bronx, you go into a very dangerous neighborhood, such a thing requires Tfilat Haderech. Could be even less than 72 minutes. That's already something that requires really understanding of where is dangerous, where is really dangerous, that one that travels in a car could take a risk. I'm not sure if there is such a place in New York, but as we explained before, going through an Arab village, definitely such a drive requires Tfilat Haderech, even if it's less than 72 minutes, because of the danger, even though one is in the car.